Currently on my screen you see two apps side by side in Windows 8. On the left side you'll see the Twitter app, and on the right side you'll see Internet Explorer has been opened, and right now I'm in the Google search engine. Having two or more apps open on the screen at the same time has been one of Microsoft's major selling points for Windows 8. So how do you do this? At this point I'm going to go ahead and go back to my start screen, and let's assume that we want to go ahead and open up Internet Explorer. Now that we have the Internet Explorer app opened, we now must make our screen ready to show side-by-side applications. There are a few different ways to do this, and the first way I'm going to show you uses the mouse. With the mouse, move your cursor to the top of the screen, and when you get to the top of the screen you'll notice that your cursor turns into a hand. This hand will allow you to grab the top of the screen and move it down. So once it turns into a hand, click with your mouse and then move your mouse down, and then either to the left or to the right. So for example, if you wanted Internet Explorer to be docked on the right, you would move it to the right. If you wanted it to the left, you would move it to the left. And you'll notice that when I do this, a black vertical bar will emerge. This lets me know that I'm getting ready to put my screen in side-by-side applications. So in this case, I do want my Internet Explorer app to be on the right. And with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and release the mouse. And now as you can see, the Internet Explorer app is now docked on the right side of my screen. But you'll notice to the left now, I have a pretty big gray area that has nothing in it. So at this point, I want to go ahead and put an app in that area. Again, there's a few different ways I can do this. I can simply go ahead and click on the gray area. I can hit the Windows key to bring me back to the start menu, or I can actually go to the switcher bar by hovering my mouse in the upper left corner of my screen and selecting one of the apps from this area. However, in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and click on the gray area, which will bring me back to my start screen. Essentially what this is doing is asking me, well, what app do you want to open up to the left side of the screen? In this case, if I select SkyDrive, you'll be able to see that SkyDrive is on the left and Internet Explorer is on the right. And again, that black bar separates the two. But if you notice in the middle of the black bar, there are some symbols. By clicking and holding, I can drag this bar to the left or to the right to resize the actual screens. So now I have SkyDrive and Internet Explorer side by side. But let's say, for instance, that I've decided I want to put a different app on the left-hand side of my screen. Well, how do I do this? Well, again, I have a variety of options. I can go back up to the switcher bar and select an app that I recently had open, such as Twitter, and simply click, hold, and drag it out, and as you can see, it's overlapping the left side of the screen. If I let go, it will replace the left side of the screen. Another way I could have done this is by going back to the start screen and selecting a brand new app to open up. So for instance, let's say I wanted to open up the Wikipedia app. I would just go ahead and click on it, and as you can see, the app is kind of caught in between the Twitter app and the Internet Explorer app. But what this is basically asking me is, what side do I want the Wikipedia app to be on? In this case, I'm going to go ahead and put it on the right side. So I'm going to click on the right side, and as you can see, the Wikipedia app is now on the right side of my screen, while the Twitter app is still on the left side of my screen. Currently, I have two apps open side by side on Windows 8. Some screens will allow you to have as many as 4 apps open side by side in a very similar fashion as what you see on my screen. So that's how you place apps side by side using a mouse. The other way I'm going to show you in this video on how to move apps side by side is using a keyboard shortcut. So for instance, let's say that I want to make that Wikipedia app on the right side of my screen take up the entire screen. Well, how do I do this? Well, I'm going to use a keyboard shortcut. I'm going to use the Windows key on my keyboard and the up arrow. And as you can see, Wikipedia now takes up the entire screen. But let's say, for instance, I wanted to move this app back to the left side or to the right side. Again, a keyboard shortcut will work as well. The Windows key and the left arrow will move the app to the left. The Windows key and the right arrow will move the app to the right. So again, Windows key and up will make it full screen, like so. Windows key and left will bring it to the left side. Windows key and right will bring it to the right side. And as an added tip, the Windows key and the down arrow will actually minimize the app. Well, there you have it. How to place apps side by side on the same screen in Windows 8.